She died on vacation, my son said, tearful, but Willow emailed me. Grandma, help me, I'm still here. My family was hiding something dark. I'm Charlotte and I'm enjoying my retirement at age 62. I reside in a modest suburban home here in California and it's packed with history. James and I began our life here. It's where we brought up our son, Nathan. Even though my dear James passed away 6 years back, I still sense him everywhere in this house. Now I share my home with Nathan, his wife Olivia, and their precious granddaughter, Willow. Nathan, who is 35, is an engineer, and he works at an IT firm. Ever since he was a young child, he's always been fascinated with taking things apart and putting them back together. Olivia, 32, is employed as a childcare instructor. She has such a gentle way with the kids, and Willow is especially fond of her. Willow has reached the age of 5. With her blonde curls and bright azure eyes, she appears to have come right out of a children's book. Anytime she's here, the house bursts with mirth and contentment. When I hold her small hand in mine, it makes the difficulties of life seem worthwhile. The hours I share with Willow are the most valuable thing I have. Losing my husband created a large empty space in my heart that lingered for a while, but Willow's being around has gradually begun to mend that emptiness. When I have her on my lap and read to her, it makes me feel truly happy. Nathan and Olivia are incredibly important to me as well. Despite their hectic schedules, they always make family their priority. One day, Nathan and Olivia thought they should bring Willow on an adventure. They hadn't enjoyed a real vacation since their honeymoon, so this was a big deal for them and for Willow. To be truthful, I was feeling a bit isolated, but I realized it would be beneficial for Willow to encounter different things. Nathan and Olivia immersed themselves in the trip arrangements, studying travel books and working on plans pretty much every day. I could definitely see how much they were anticipating this trip. "Mom, could you please watch over the house while we're gone?" Olivia asked me. On the day they left, there was a lot going on at the house. Nathan put the luggage in the car while Olivia did one last check. Willow had a little backpack and was bouncing around enthusiastically. "Grandma, look, new shoes." Willow proudly showed me her feet. Those little feet looked all set for a fresh experience. "They're fantastic, Willow. I bet lots of adventures are in store for you," I said, hugging her tightly and kissing her cheek. Olivia offered her thanks to me. "Knowing you're here gives us peace of mind." "Thank you." While in the car, Willow kept repeating how excited she was to fly on a plane. I waved until I could no longer see her happy face and then went back indoors. Going back into the house by myself, the quiet seemed even more noticeable. Without Willow's giggles and the pitter-patter of her little steps, the house felt larger. I was eager for their safe return, understanding Willow would have lots of fresh stories to relate. That evening, even with the television blaring, I felt a void since Willow's voice was absent. I went into her room and her tiny bed was perfectly made. Her beloved stuffed animal sat there. "Hurry back, Willow," I murmured to myself. I decided to make the most of the solitary time while I was looking forward to her coming home. On the day Nathan, Olivia, and Willow were due home from their trip, I was at the front door, ready to welcome them back. When I heard the car pulling up, I rushed outside. I was anticipating hearing her voice, but only Nathan and Olivia got out of the car. They looked so sad. "Mom, we're home," Nathan said, sounding tired. His face expressed fatigue and an unsettling sadness. "Welcome back, Nathan and Olivia." "Where's Willow?" I looked into the back seat, but Willow wasn't there. Olivia looked away for a second, tears welling up in her eyes. "Willow, she had an accident on the trip and died." The instant those words hit me, everything stopped. My head went numb and I didn't know what to say. "What? That's impossible. I don't believe this. How?" I stood there, stunned. Nathan slumped, letting out a heavy breath. "Mom, we still can't believe it either. It was a tragic accident. How was this possible, Willow?" She was so full of energy. My voice shook. Olivia started sobbing and Nathan put his arms around her. I was frozen, just standing there, unable to move. I refused to accept that Willow was gone. That evening, I went into Willow's bedroom and sat down on her mattress. I could still smell her in there. Clasping the plush toy that lay beside her pillow, I couldn't stop the tears from rolling down my cheeks. It was just impossible to accept that Willow would never come back to this place. Nathan and Olivia had retreated into their room, hardly saying anything. An overwhelming sadness and quiet hung over our house. I tried to remember Willow's happy face and the sound of her giggles, but those memories just stabbed me with grief. I really wanted to find out the specifics of Willow's accident, so I asked Nathan, "What happened? How did Willow?" Nathan's expression turned grim. He was quiet for a moment, then slowly spoke, heavy-hearted. "Mom, I don't want to talk about the specifics, but it was a terrible accident. We're devastated, too." That just wasn't good enough. Something felt wrong, as if they were keeping something secret. But when I looked at Nathan and Olivia's suffering, I bit back my questions, unable to push him for more information. That night, I couldn't fall asleep. Willow's face and the sound of her voice just wouldn't leave my thoughts while I cried and cried. My heart was filled with terrible questions. Did she truly die in an accident, or was there something they weren't telling me? Since that terrible day that Nathan and Olivia told me about Willow, everything in my life has shifted completely. Each day that passes without her is silent, solitary, and like a huge emptiness is consuming my soul. Everywhere I look around the house, I'm reminded of her beaming smile and voice. I awake in the mornings, looking at the living room where she always used to play, and the tears just start to flow on their own. I still see her little chair and the books she loved, and those things are such potent reminders that she's gone. Almost every night, I find myself going into Willow's room and sitting on her bed. Pressing my face into her pillow, I almost imagine I can smell her, and it makes my heart ache. It seems Nathan and Olivia are struggling with Willow's passing, too. Sometimes I hear Olivia quietly crying from her room. Nathan hardly talks anymore, and on some days he doesn't go to his job, staying locked up inside the house. One day my phone buzzed with an email notification. When I saw who it was from, I was completely stunned. It was from Willow. At first I thought it had to be a mix-up, but when I opened the email it simply said, "Grandma, please help me, I'm still here." Right then my entire body began shaking and I struggled to breathe. What could this possibly signify? Willow was alive. I couldn't wrap my mind around what was happening. I also couldn't grasp the reality of it all. Yet there was no doubt the message had come from Willow because I recognized her usual way of writing and her unique voice. I instantly hurried to Nathan and Olivia and showed them the email. "Nathan, Olivia, look at this," I told them. "I received an email from Willow." For a split second, Nathan seemed surprised, but then his face hardened. He stared at me without warmth and in a broken voice told me, "Mom, that has to be some sort of error. Willow is gone." Olivia, her eyes red and puffy from crying, told me, "Mom, you have to face the truth." Their responses made me furious. I couldn't comprehend their composure in this situation. Why wouldn't they even consider that Willow might still be living? I have faith in Willow. If she's reaching out for assistance, I'm determined to do whatever it takes to bring her home safely. I went immediately to the police station. Driven by the thought that Willow was still out there, I was consumed by a powerful urge to find her, no matter the cost. At the front desk, I urgently showed them the email from Willow. "Please," I begged, "my granddaughter is asking for help. Please look into this." My voice cracked as tears ran down my cheeks. The police officers seemed confused at first, but seeing my distress, they agreed to check it out. The assigned detective questioned me for specifics and carefully examined the email. "It's going to take a while to figure out where this email came from, and this alone isn't enough proof. Do you have anything else that might help?" the detective inquired. "Nathan and Olivia say Willow passed away in an accident, but I just can't believe it. It doesn't feel right," I said with a heightened urgency. The police assured me they'd continue the investigation, but I still felt worried. If the evidence was weak, I had no idea how far the police would go. I decided that I needed to try to find some leads myself. When I got back, Nathan and Olivia seemed wary of what I had been doing. Nathan looked at me directly and asked, "Mom, where were you?" I said, "It's nothing. I was just concerned about Willow." I tried to brush it off with a quick lie, but his stare was unwavering. I thought that maybe Willow had left some hints, so I went to look through her room. I explored everywhere, peering into all the drawers and every closet. Despite my efforts, I discovered nothing of significance. Ever since I read Willow's message, I couldn't seem to relax. The police investigation wasn't moving forward at all, which only made my frustration increase as time went on. It was becoming clear I needed to do something. I had to do what I could to bring Willow home. One afternoon, when Nathan and Olivia were away, I went through the house again, hoping to find anything related to Willow's disappearance. Every room received a careful inspection. When I went into Nathan's room, I took a really close look at his desk, and I saw a drawer that was locked. After a bit of a search, I found a key hidden under the desk, finally. Inside that drawer, which I unlocked, were a bunch of papers. As I looked through them, I found some loan agreements with huge amounts of money listed. I had no clue that Nathan was dealing with this kind of debt. As I kept looking, I discovered a life insurance policy, naming Willow as the insured person. The payout listed would be enormous if she died. I had to ask myself why these documents were here. My hands trembled and my heart beat fast, really fast. Life insurance. It seemed like someone planned this all out. Next, I decided to check Olivia's room. Looking through her closet and drawers, I found a diary buried deep inside. It was definitely Olivia's own handwriting. What really grabbed my attention was a reference about me. She had mentioned me. It described Olivia and Nathan plotting something. It was vague, but it was evident these two were secretly working on something together. Were Nathan and Olivia involved in what happened to Willow? Doubts and suspicions were racing around inside my head. I just knew they were trying to keep something hidden. However, this wasn't concrete evidence on its own. I reached out to the authorities once more, presenting them with the freshly found documents and diary excerpts. The police appeared intrigued, stating it could potentially help move things forward, but it still felt inadequate. I made a firm decision. I had no option but to keep looking into it myself. I needed to locate more definitive proof if I were to help Willow. Gathering my weary strength, I made up my mind to continue my investigation when morning came. The next day, I observed Nathan and Olivia in secret, trying to find hints in their conversations and actions. They seemed cautious, though, maybe sensing that I was onto them. Even so, I kept going, closely watching what they did and where they went. At one point, I managed to hear Nathan on a phone call. His voice was soft, and the way he spoke made it clear he was trying to hide something. "It's all good, we'll move forward as planned," he said. "The insurance paperwork is progressing smoothly." Those words gave me the shivers. As much as I desperately wished that Willow was alive, there was no question that Nathan and Olivia were up to some awful plan. While I kept seeking clues about Willow, my life was being completely turned upside down. Those calm, happy times with my loved ones had transformed into a period of unease and fear. I was working tirelessly to find the reality of things, certain that Willow was still living, yet my efforts were making Nathan and Olivia extremely angry. One day I woke up to find all of my car tires had been deliberately cut. It was plainly a malicious act. A note was left close by, stating that I should stop meddling. I felt certain Nathan and Olivia were behind it, however, without any proof I couldn't accuse them directly. Even so, I kept going. Seeking information on Willow, I spoke with her acquaintances and people she lived near, hoping to learn whether she'd appeared worried or if anything strange had occurred. But nothing solid materialized. Then one day I got an unsettling letter in my mailbox. It contained a threatening note. If I continued to cause trouble, there was no saying what could happen to me. For a brief moment I wavered, but I wouldn't abandon my mission to rescue Willow. That evening, Nathan and Olivia burst into my room. Nathan gave me a hard stare, his rage obvious, and said, "Mom, that's enough. Due to your actions, we could lose everything." "Nathan, Willow is alive. Why can't you acknowledge it?" I begged, filled with desperation. Olivia told me that I was unstable. Willow was dead. I had to quit hurting them. Their behavior was harsh, and I felt utterly heartbroken. But I had faith in Willow. While she was requesting assistance, I wouldn't surrender. I reached out to law enforcement once more, reporting the menacing message. Slowly, they started giving my concerns the attention they deserved. The detectives began observing Nathan and Olivia, and they really ramped up the investigation. At the same time, I began to think Willow was being kept somewhere against her will, so I started looking for places where she could be. If Willow was being kept hidden, I figured there had to be some hints. I followed the police investigation, my heart filled with hope. Praying for Willow's well-being, I communicated with her silently. "Willow, just hang in there. I promise I'm going to rescue you." Sadly, the police work was moving at a snail's pace. As a result, I chose to ask for help from my buddy Benjamin Smith, who used to be a detective. Even though he was retired, he had lots of experience and was very perceptive. As soon as I told him what was going on, he instantly agreed to help. "Charlotte, this could turn into something really risky." "But let's do whatever we can for Willow," Benjamin told me. We began tracking Nathan and Olivia's every move even more intensely. Using Benjamin's expertise, we pinpointed their usual spots and carefully checked out the areas nearby. At last, we discovered an old, unused factory where Willow was probably being held. "This is it. Willow might be inside," Benjamin declared. We thought it was best to look around the factory before calling the police. We arrived under the cover of darkness, and sure enough, we heard a quiet voice coming from inside. It was Willow's voice. My chest thumped wildly and my eyes began to water. "Benjamin, Willow has arrived," I blurted out, barely able to contain my enthusiasm. "We should be careful, Charlotte," Benjamin responded, his voice even. We slipped into the factory through the rear entrance, creeping forward with caution. As we moved down a shadowy corridor, we saw Willow in the distance. She was sitting inside a small room, appearing terrified. Suddenly, Nathan and Olivia materialized in front of us, their expressions a blend of fury and anxiety. "Mom, what are you doing here?" Nathan yelled. "I'm here to rescue Willow," I declared, my voice trembling. "Why did you do this?" I pressed, my tone unwavering. "Back off, Mom," Olivia snapped, glaring at me. "It's over," Benjamin interjected coolly. "The cops are on their way. Just give up." However, Nathan and Olivia gave no indication of surrendering and attacked us. It became a violent fight, which they then initiated. Benjamin also put up a fierce fight to try and contain them. "Willow, run," I yelled, trying to direct her toward safety. Willow, bewildered and sobbing, followed my directions and started running away. Listening to her small feet as they disappeared amid our struggle, I felt a small bit of ease. With Benjamin's assistance, we were able to subdue Nathan and Olivia. Just then, the sound of police sirens echoed through the air. Benjamin had called for them. The police officers arrived quickly to help. Nathan and Olivia were still fighting back, but the police finally arrested them. Nathan looked at me with burning eyes and asked, "Mom, why would you?" But I met his gaze, remaining calm. "Nathan, what you did is inexcusable." "I'm not sure what you were considering, but that's incorrect," I stated, firm in my conviction. Olivia, with tears running down her cheeks, attempted to explain things away, saying, However, the authorities took both her and Nathan into custody. Willow was brought to safety. Benjamin assured us we were all safe. He smiled, appearing visibly relieved. "You did well, Charlotte. Willow is secure now," he commented. "Thank you, Benjamin," I said, overflowing with thanks. "I have no idea what could have happened without your intervention," I told him my appreciation. "Grandma, I was so frightened." "Thank you for saving me," Willow said, her voice choked with tears. "It's all right, Willow, it's all over now. We'll always be together from now on," I murmured quietly to her. After getting Willow to safety, I held her close, feeling the heat of her tiny body as the tears streamed down my face. "I am so sorry, Willow, I couldn't find you sooner." "I'm so incredibly sorry," I said, rubbing her hair. "But it's okay now. Grandma is with you," I softly whispered. Willow, still shaking, nodded as if finding comfort in my embrace. With Nathan and Olivia in custody, the interrogation process began at the police station. They repeatedly claimed they were innocent, constantly asserting that Willow vanishing was a regrettable mishap. During this time, the police started working on things. The police started looking closely at the evidence I had given them. The financial papers, the life insurance policy on Willow, and their questionable actions were all becoming clearer. As Willow attended therapy sessions, she eventually started to speak about what she had gone through. Willow's account was incredibly vital for the authorities, turning out to be a significant piece of evidence in figuring out what happened. Mom and Dad told me they needed to make it look like I vanished, but it was to protect everyone. I felt utterly terrified. Willow confessed this, weeping. The cops documented Willow's story and interrogated Nathan and Olivia even more intensely, but they kept insisting they were innocent. "We didn't do anything bad," they kept saying. Nathan insisted this was all a mistake. "My mother-in-law is making all of this up. Willow is just mixed up," Olivia chimed in. Nevertheless, as the police investigation progressed, Nathan and Olivia's web of deception began to fall apart. Inconsistencies and strange details about what they were doing surfaced repeatedly, unveiling what they had been planning. Eventually, their admissions unveiled the complete story. They were going after Willow's life insurance to clear up their money woes, intending to imprison her and fake her passing. Their scheme ultimately flopped. Nathan and Olivia were officially charged and scheduled to go to trial. A crowd of people filled the courtroom, and the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Stepping up to testify, Willow found the strength and described what she went through. "If it wasn't for Grandma, I have no idea what would have happened to me. Mom and Dad harmed me," she stated through her tears. I also testified, outlining the full scope of their plot. They were buried under massive debt, and in order to get at Willow's insurance payout, they tried to kidnap her and pretend she died. I stood my ground. The judge seemed to comprehend just how cruel Nathan and Olivia had been, based on our statements. The financial burden was crushing. We hoped to resolve everything with Willow's insurance funds, as that was the only option available to us. Nathan begged, his eyes brimming with tears. We felt completely trapped. Hurting Willow was the last thing we desired, yet it seemed like we had no alternative. Olivia continued with her plea, but the judge flatly stated that their behavior was unforgivable. These deeds showed they'd abandoned what it means to be parents and to be decent people. My evidence, along with Willow's account, sealed their fate, establishing their wrongdoing. Nathan and Olivia were given severe punishments, facing substantial prison sentences for what they had done. Following the sentencing, I embraced Willow tightly. "It's really finished," I told her silently. "You don't have to be scared any longer." Willow hugged me back and smiled, saying, "Grandma, thank you. I'm okay now." After that, we started getting ready for our new life. To help Willow heal emotionally, I focused on spending a lot of time with her, supporting her development. "We're going to be together from now on, Willow. Let's face whatever challenges come our way as a team," I promised. Willow nodded, seeming to gain courage from my words. "Yes, Grandma, we'll always be together," she repeated, her response full of conviction. Seeing her happy, I felt optimism about what lay ahead. Time went by. Although I never forgot what happened, Willow was able to recover and develop into a strong, intelligent young woman. Willow is now wrapping up her last year of elementary school, having fun with her buddies, and getting involved in all the school stuff. When I catch a glimpse of her beaming, I get this overwhelming feeling of joy and relief. Willow would excitedly tell me about her day, saying things like, "Grandma, you won't believe what happened at school today." Seeing how pure and unguarded she is, I understand that she's put that awful thing behind her. We cherished our everyday lives, collecting little moments of happiness. Things like working in the garden together and going on weekend outings filled us with pleasure. Watching Willow blossom has been my greatest satisfaction. One night while Willow and I were cooking supper, she looked at me with a really serious face and said, "Grandma, thank you for saving me back then. I don't know what would have happened to me if you hadn't been there." Her words filled my heart with a comforting warmth. "Willow," I said, "I'm so glad you're here. Having you with me is the best thing ever." Willow smiled and said, "Grandma, I'll always be with you, no matter what." At night before I went to bed, I looked into Willow's room. She was in her bed, reading a book. Seeing her calm and content, I felt this deep, profound sense of thankfulness and safety. Family ties can sometimes be a bit shaky, but real love can conquer anything, I thought to myself. My connection with Willow made us resilient and gave us something to look forward to. Good night, Willow. "I love you," I whispered as I quietly left her room. Willow put her book down and said, smiling, "Good night, Grandma." That night,